take a moment to peek into the lives of inspirational people living the true definition of happiness with author, presenter, personal stylist and coach Moana Robinson, who chats to people who have overcome challenges to live their best life. Moana is a passion and purpose coach and a personal stylist who empowers others to discover their best life and style regardless of age. Here is Moana.
Hello everyone, it's Moana Robinson here from Be Styled for Life. I'm taking a moment today with Angelique Pellegrino. Is that how you pronounce your name?
Yes, just like the water.
Oh, Pellegrino water.
Indeed. It was in my husband's family way back.
Oh, really? That's where the name came from?
Yes, and then Nestle took it over.
Yeah.
And the twist of fate, I was born in the same city where Nestle, the manufacturer, is. How funny is that?
Oh, wow, that's very interesting already. I'm looking forward to chatting with you. I met you on a mutual friend of ours. She has a mass media mastery course, which we were both on, or a webinar, which we were both on. And Angelique and I thought that we'd like to have a chat. Angelique, you've got a business. What is your business name?
So my business is called Refresh Your Mind. And what it is, I practice rapid transformational therapy, which combines different healing modalities, you know, from hypnosis to NLP to CBT to timeline therapy, but it's extremely effective. In fact, one session will transform a person's life, because through hypnosis we discover what the real cause of an issue is, and we usually focus on one. That's why it's so effective. And then through a different process, I become then a dentist, and I extract it from their psyche, do some more clearing, and then I create a recording for them that's tailor-made for them. And they're going to listen to this for at least 21 days. And it will set them on a brand new path.
Wow, that's fascinating. Gosh, and you're also an author, a published author. You've written in a few books.
I have indeed.
Can we have a look at the books?
Sure. So I co-authored. This was my first one. It's called Radiant, and Visionary Woman Igniting the Light in Others. All the books are really about inspiring people who might be going through hard times. Then we had Release the Shackles, which is exactly what I do. Inspired Living and Inspired Creators, which, Inspired Creators is really about how important it is not just to make a decision from a mental perspective, but to check within, to be deeply aligned before you move forward. And if you do that, well, again, you fly.
So it's similar. I'm an MBIT coach, so that's about the multiple brain integration techniques. So the head and the heart and the gut.
Excellent. Same. Yeah.
Very similar. Yeah. And how long have you had your business for?
Oh, I like to say that I've been doing this all my life. But I can't quite remember, 5-6 years now.
Yep. And family? You've got family?
Yes, I have a son and a daughter. They are my best work of art, I like to say. They, definitely have lots of challenges like everybody else, but they seem to navigate change really well, because we have been extremely challenged ourselves. And because, I should perhaps just quickly say, the reason I was so determined to find something effective to help people with trauma, especially, or whatever is deeply buried in the subconscious, to clear it once and for all, is because 7 years into my marriage, I finally realized what was wrong with my husband. And that's when he opened up and he told me that he had been raped by an uncle. And that just never got away. It just took his life. But I love the fact that he never repeated the act and was overprotective. And but that's it.
So were you able to help your husband through that, or was that before you did your studies?
Unfortunately, I did not know about rapid transformational therapy then. But, it's all about, it goes back to the contract we signed before we came on the planet. He obviously was just meant to be here for a while. And in fact, it's really funny, because a couple of years after he passed away, I went to a workshop of healing, and one lady was doing a talk and
Mhm.
saying how she can talk to people that passed away.
Yeah.
So, as soon as I had a chance, I put my hand up and I said, hey, my husband and I were so close. We thought we'd be able to communicate more when he was on the other side.
Yeah.
And I just don't, I know he's present, but I can't see him. I can't feel him. And she said, he's right there, kneeling in front of you. He's got a bunch of roses. And he's saying, thank you so much for not abandoning me. And for giving me two beautiful children, and
Yeah.
my time was up. It was time to move on. Yeah.
So how long ago was that?
About 15 years. And you know what's uncanny? It's really uncanny. My late husband was called Ferdinando, Rosario, Pellegrino, but everybody called him Freddie.
Yeah.
So then I go to Switzerland when my husband passed away to go for my children, and my nephew, who was gay, married a Fred who had been raped.
Oh, okay.
I already knew the
Mm.
trouble he was in.
Yeah.
And today he's reaching out big time for help,
Mm.
So it's amazing how all these little things happen in life, don't
Are you
they?
close to your nephew?
Very close
Yeah.
to him, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good.
Mhm.
So, like, having known all of that, might be a silly question, but is that the main challenge the biggest challenge you've had to get over in life?
Well, it was
Okay.
majorly challenging
Yeah.
because my husband would deal, he said the pain was 24/7.
Yeah.
And he would just smoke a lot of marijuana,
Yeah.
but eventually, the pain will build up, and he would have to have a bigger release. And I might as well share it because a lot of people probably have family members who don't realize that they have a reason for doing this. And he would just inject cocaine.
Oh,
And that's really rare, by the way. And I would just protect him. Initially, he would disappear from me, And when I realized what was happening, I said, hey, just do it at home. And he would just go in a garage or in a bathroom or whatever and be on his own and release his thing. He'd been there for 16 hours,
Yeah.
Yeah. And I had to hide it from my children so they could have a normal life. And that's why I say to you, they're my best work of art because through all these roller coasters, I still managed to bring my children up. But that was definitely a huge challenge, huge.
Yeah.
And then to top of that, our story is quite hectic, really. When I was at the end of his life, the palliative nurses had asked me, do you want him at home for his last few days? And I'm going, hell no, I'm not a nurse. I don't know how to do injections, especially after he's been injecting. That was just a big taboo thing for me. So I was just living in a hospital, I was like a robot, trying to survive, trying to feed my kids, send them to school, just you don't even think, you're just like. And one day I'm talking to my mother-in-law who's already passed away, and I said, hey, Mom, what are we waiting for? I mean, this is hell for everybody, for him, for us, And she replied that he was waiting for his sister to visit. A couple of days later, ring, I'm coming to visit. So it was the very same day that I had to go to Sydney for a court case I had been waiting for the tall poppy syndrome. Because I managed to get a job amongst all this chaos that worked around him because he couldn't be left alone.
Yeah.
Because he also had an accident. I mean, it's a long story. But however, this job was selling timeshare actually for the ACOR group, and I absolutely loved it because I use my languages. I was in a beautiful environment and I just loved it, right?
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I was then winning the bonuses every month, which ruffled some feathers. And the guy that used to get the bonuses every month, who would go and have his little orgies with his mates, did everything in his power to get rid of me. And when he couldn't, they teamed up and they paid somebody to assault me to get rid of me. So, and I had a dying husband at home and I was the breadwinner,
Gosh.
So I had to go to Sydney for that court case, which, by the way, I didn't even have to go to the courtroom. It was black and white. And I got the maximum legislation set. But in saying that day I had to fly in and out from Coffs Harbour to Sydney. So my daughter takes me to the little airport of Coffs Harbour. picks up her aunt, who happens to be coming from the plane I'm about to take, takes her to the hospital to be with her brother, went to uni because she became a school teacher. So can you guess what happened?
She went to visit her brother and then he passed away?
No,
No?
way worse.
Oh.
That's what most people say. So, but no, she convinced the hospital to let him out.
Oh.
She took him all the way to Perth.
Mm-hmm.
He died away from us.
Wow.
She took him to the bank in a wheelchair, cleaned my bank account. And so we capsized and were homeless.
Oh, gosh.
So I said to my kids, we've got two options here. We can either try to get our money back, and it's going to be a long saga and keep us in that low vibrational thing, or we can jump on a bus and get on with our life. What do you want to do? Get on a bus.
How old were the children?
My son was 17, my daughter 19. Yeah, so, that's why we just absolutely adore each other and respect each other and love our quality time. But, they're both in businesses and it's not easy, right?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, so you'd be very close to your children.
I am.
Yeah.
And now they've both given me a daughter and
so you've got two granddaughters.
two and a third granddaughter coming.
Oh, that's right.
Before
Another one on the
Christmas.
way?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh,
So,
exciting. Yeah.
So that's my challenge.
You're obviously doing something that means a lot to you, the business that you've got now, helping other people. That's obviously something very meaningful to you. And is that what part of your life do you like the most at the moment, apart from spending time with your children and your business?
I love myself. Like, it sounds bad, but
No,
I really
it doesn't
do.
sound bad.
Love my mind. I love what I love is my insight, seeing straight through situations, and especially like my nephew ringing me back from Switzerland because there's another whole story over there, and the reflection of the different lives being similar, and how I can now read through that and navigate with that better and perhaps make a difference in their life. That's a thing, isn't it? Being able to make a true difference in a person's life. It's the best feeling ever.
Just creates that ripple effect, and you don't know how much of a difference you're making in a lot of people's lives. You were telling us at lunch some of the stories about the people that you've helped with your what's the RTT, rapid transformation techniques?
Therapy.
Just a huge difference to people's lives, and it's very rewarding.
And at the same time, sometimes a person doesn't need to have a big major drama in their life. Well, first of all, if they have, often they just pretend it wasn't there, and they just keep pushing it down, pushing it down, pushing it down. And unfortunately, what they don't realize is that it's just a matter of time until it comes back up and bites them in the bum. They could be in a situation where they're really confronted and they're going to lose it because it's been built up. That's why it's really good to release anger as it comes. As you feel it, you just say it.
Can you tell me something that you're looking forward to with the grandchild coming along, and also the golden age?
Well, as you know, there's been a lot of chaos happening in the world at the moment, and a lot of changes are going on. So, and I remember years and years and years ago, at least 20 years ago, somebody said to me, "What are you doing on this planet?" And I don't know why, but I said, "I'm taking my children to the golden age." And I didn't realize exactly the meaning of that. But, it's like when you have this road and you're driving, you know where you're going, but, you don't really know how you're going to get there. And it's the same thing. So now it's becoming apparent. I mean, the COVID has actually brought a lot to the surface, and it's cleansing the world of lots of rubbish. However, the golden age has been predicted. And for those who want to investigate more about this, I invite you to see what NESARA GESARA is, because this is, a group of people, millions and millions of people that have been working towards this goal for a long, long time. And it's all, it's kind of parallel to what we currently have, but all of a sudden this one is going to take over. And it's another way of describing it is, we have all been invited to come and live on this planet, and we have all had choices. Do you want the hard road? You kind of made a contract, and we all chose to come to clear our karmic debts. But for some of us, we might have decided to take all our ancestors' karmic debts and maybe even our country's karmic debt.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, but it doesn't matter. As you clear this, you rise your vibrations.
Yeah.
And as you rise your vibrations, you rise everybody else's vibrations because they're all one, and we rise the planets.
Yeah.
So the whole planet has been on the third dimension. When we come on this place, it's a third dimension. It's a soup of drama.
Oh, yes, lots of drama. Yeah.
And as we clear and, release anger instead of pushing it down, for starters, that's really good. All sorts of things. And as we rise and rise and rise, now actually the planet is on 3 3/4. Fourth dimension, fifth dimension. In the fifth dimension is what they call the golden age. And there won't be any more contrast. And I think that is the hardest part to fathom, because we've always had contrast. How do you rise if you don't have contrast?
Are you talking about like the shadows and the dark and the light and things like that?
Well, I don't know about the shadows, but like in order for a plane to fly, it has to have the counteracting, things like that, yin and yang, So that's kind of hard, and so that means it's going to be only peace and harmony, just like John Lennon said. Imagine a world, and that's exactly what it is. He was right there. He was ahead of time. Oh well, we're behind, more like it. And that's what they call the fifth dimension. So the other thing is, it's not a place we go to. It's a place we become. For instance, you wake up every day. This morning, I wake up in 5D.
You wake up in
I wake up in 5D.
Oh.
In the golden age, in the fifth dimension.
Yeah.
And I want everyone that I come across with today, including you, listeners, to have a 5D day where everything falls into place beautifully, like a charm.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
Oh, I'll have to look into that. I'll have to do some investigating.
I can send you some things.
This is why I really like talking to so many different people, because you learn so much by talking to other people.
Yeah.
And just being open to other things that people are experiencing. Yeah.
And it is a poof, it is, I have to warn you, it's if you've never heard of it before, it's going to blow your mind. At first you're going to reject it, because in that fifth dimension, it's a way out there. Honestly, we can just disappear from a spot and reappear elsewhere. And it's not impossible, because when you think about it, there's like a grid that's getting formed at the moment, and it's just like traveling. It's basically, let's just say I want to go to Brisbane today, and I say, okay, how do I want to be driven by somebody, or do I want to just land there? And you can just step outside and boom, you're in Brisbane. Or or you can have because we're all going to have jobs, but they're not paid jobs. They're jobs that we are happy to do. And some people love driving. So they might volunteer and drive you to Brisbane. Do you know? It's going to be like, it's hard, and it's to fathom, but we have a date.
Oh, well, it'll be interesting to look up, at least to know what it's all about anyway.
It's positive. It's
exactly.
positive and happy and good, and there's nothing to worry about. And not everybody's going to come, obviously. And this is again goes back to that contract we made. We're part of the people that are staying and moving up, because you could. I've been way higher than the fifth dimension. NASA's been working on this for years and years and years. It just kept it away from us. There's over 600 technologies that have been keeping away from us, including what I've just explained, and they're all becoming available to us. And it's extraordinary what I just mentioned to you. We need something and it's there. You want to go to the beach and you want to have one of those things that you glide on water. I can't remember what they're called, some surf kind of thing. Boom, it's going to be there for you to use, And it's extraordinary, because on the weekend we went camping with my children, and This time, my daughter actually rented a little caravan to have in the back because they have, she's pregnant, they have a baby, etc. And it was easier. And anyway, and then they were talking amongst each other, and they said, "Yeah, it's amazing all the things you can rent nowadays."
Yeah.
And then they say, "See." It's the next step to what we've been doing, buying all the time, buying, and now we can just rent. It's not even worth buying, and the next thing is going to be, well, the cash flow is going to go and you're not going to need it. And it's unfolding. I see it, but
it's going to be very interesting. The life that our grandchildren are going to have in years to come is going to be very different to what life is like now.
Indeed.
Yeah, thank you. It's been very enlightening talking to you. Really nice to have you at our Tuesdays on Target meeting, and I really appreciate you taking a moment with me.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to Take a Moment with Moana Robinson. Remember to visit her website, bestyledforlife.com.au, and book a time for a further conversation.